Klay Thompson. Boom. That was the game.
He's back.
Yeah, he's been back for the last 2 games. And, I mean, the one thing, and we're gonna get into the Warriors, the elephants in the room. We're going to talk 49ers for sure. They play in Mexico City tonight. But the Warriors, they beat the Knicks on Friday. They beat the Rockets last night. They play the Pelicans today. The one piece of bad news, no Steph Curry, no Draymond Green, no Klay Thompson. JD, the thing I'm thinking is, how do you get it rolling? If you're gonna load manage the big guys here and there. Like tonight would be a game where, you get tonight, okay, now you beat a couple teams on the road after starting 0-8. You come home against the Clippers. Now it's feeling good, but I mean, I don't know now.
Well, I think the case against what you're saying and the case for load managing is the fact that I think it's pretty clear already that the Warriors are going to have to really use the veteran players a lot more than maybe they anticipated this season in an attempt to try and win as many games as possible to get to the top half of the Western Conference, because the young players have been so unplayable in the grand scheme of this thing. So I think you could almost make a case, because of the extra use of the stars, that those days are going to become more important, especially earlier in the season. And maybe as the season goes on, you do it a little bit less and less. I typically am with you, and I'm not comfortable with it, and really don't even like when teams kind of punt on games like the Warriors are, at least in theory, doing by making it a developmental game. But at the same time, they are playing better in the last 7. I know we could quibble about what all that means, but it is 5 of the last 7. They are now within a game of 500, and to me, you let tonight be about the young guys and you see what you've got. Doesn't mean you're automatically going to lose, and then you re-ramp it up after giving everybody a few days to refresh back at home on Wednesday night. Yeah,
I think the most positive aspect of the weekend, and, JD, I just kind of wonder why it came to this, why it had to come to this, but it did. Klay Thompson played the last 2 games unlike he's played any of the games this season. He took good shots. He didn't rush. He wasn't hungry. He wasn't thirsty. I thought we were talking about Klay on the podcast that we did, and we talked about, God, does he even have a 7 for 15 in him? Well, he was 8 for 16 against the Knicks, and then he obviously exploded last night. So, I mean, I said it before the show. He keeps shooting like that, or at least gets back to, I think he's up to 38% now from 3.
Well, 10 of 13 will do that.
Yeah. The bottom line is, if Klay plays like Klay, they got some action, JD.
I said this last night on Warriors wrap-up. My issue with Klay, and I was really hard on Klay, especially after the Phoenix game, because that was the game where it became apparent that his teammates were like, bro, what are you doing? And I think that led to, in part, this team meeting where the elephants in the room that we're going to get to were addressed. But a part of the reason why I was so hard on Klay was it wasn't that he was missing shots. It was the way that he was playing.
Exactly.
It was the fact that he was, as I've said many times, trying to take 2 shots for every miss in an attempt to almost get his percentage up. It felt like he was not hunting a good game. He was hunting a 40-point game. Every game.
Yes.
And when it didn't happen initially, or he'd start cold, he'd chase it. It was like, I missed my first 3. Now I got to make my next 7 to have the 40-point game.
Right.
And rather than just letting the game come to him. So however it was addressed, and I think we've got some reason to believe, based on what has come out about this team meeting, that Draymond came at him in a way where he said, look, dude, you're being selfish. When you focus on the team as opposed to yourself, it's all good for everybody. You play better, we play better, and then those big games come, but they come when you're not trying to go out and get them.
Right.
It's just when you're and Klay Thompson clearly made a conscious effort in the game against the Knicks to move the ball. I mean, there were you could see it. You could see him thinking it.
Yeah.
Am I going to shoot? No, I'm not. I'm going to drive. I'm going to get rid of it. And a couple times he did get it back. Solid game. I almost want to, and last night was awesome. Last night was a legendary display of shooting that really only he and Steph Curry can put on among current players. And he still got that in the bag. Less frequently than he used to, Steiny. But to me, the bigger tell for the whole weekend is, can he play like he did against the Knicks more consistently? And I think that's where it becomes about how he was trying to get the job done as opposed to even the results. So whatever needed to be said got said.
Right.
And Klay got the message and changed his game, so he gets credit for that, at least moving forward.
He does. 888-957-9570 is the number you want to jump into the conversation. JaMychal Green was talking after the Knicks game, and he said the Warriors had a team meeting, and they addressed the elephants in the room, elephants plural. I made a list of what I thought the elephants were, and Klay Thompson obviously was, well, maybe not obviously, but he, to me, was number one. And JD, it's to me, it's just strange. Yeah, he played right. Like, he played the right way the last two games. I don't understand how he played the previous 6 games like he played. Like, when you're playing like that, you know you're playing like that.
I think he knew and he didn't care.
I know.
And I think that's what was ticking his teammates off.
I think you're right, but why the hell didn't he care? And why did it take them saying, Klay, what are you doing, for him to care?
I think he got so consumed in, and he admitted this, I think, a little bit last night. He got consumed in everybody talking about how he wasn't the same.
Right.
And I think he got defiant, a word we've used a lot, and you have, to the fact that anybody that said he wasn't the same, like, he was going to prove him wrong with every shot.
Right. Exactly.
And I think it snowballed. I think he also wants the team to do well. Mm-hmm. I think he did get selfish, but he wants the team to do well so badly that I think with each miss, he was thinking, I'm killing the team too. So
I agree with that.
I think some of it comes from a good place.
No doubt.
Some of it came from a selfish place.
Right.
Some of it came from a good place to want to help the team. And it sounds like Draymond, and this was another thing that
just to chalk up.
If Draymond Green was the guy that was able to go at Klay Thompson, let's say, like, dude, just be yourself, move the ball, you'll get it back, stop being selfish. If Draymond could do that and it carried weight in Klay's eyes to where Klay changed his game for the better, and that becomes a turning point for his season and thus maybe a turning point for this Warriors season, it's also a tell that maybe Draymond Green's leadership and voice in that locker room is back when we thought it was potentially gone forever.
I hear you there.
We don't know
hear
yet.
you there. Right. And to me, we may never see if Draymond had a voice, lost a voice, and then regained his voice. There's still the issue to me with the youngsters and the oldsters and how you mesh those two entities to try to win a title. Let's go to Yule. Yule's in Houston. Hey, Yule, what's going on? You were at the game last night?
Yeah, what's up, Stoney? What's up, JD? Yeah,
hey, man.
I was at the game with my family.
Nice.
It was like a very good game to watch. I live here in Houston, so I usually watch the Warriors when they come down. And, the first quarter, it was almost like old times. I thought it was going to be a scrimmage game blowout, but the lead evaporated. And I thought I was going to see more from Kuminga and Moody, but I think they should have went down to the G League with Wiseman as well. I want them to contribute at the end of the year, and they need run too. Like, I know they're going to get run tonight, but I don't think it's enough, like, for them to get their confidence up. But it was just legendary to see Klay go nuclear. Like, this is the first time I ever saw it, like, live in person. I always watched it on TV. And then, like, for Steph, I got the video on my phone, like, when he made that dagger 3 for the night. That was, like, just amazing just for my little 1-year-old daughter and my older daughter to witness, like, a GOAT in person, like, just really to watch that. So,
no doubt.
I'm just thankful for the Warriors.
Thanks, Yule. Appreciate the call. Glad you had a good time. That shot. I mean, I can't believe, what is he in his 13th year? Something like that?
Yeah.
Curry. I'm telling you, JD.
Oh, the fadeaway.
Yeah,
the fadeaway night.
I mean, he don't even hit the rim. I'm telling, like, and
well, it's gotten to the point where that shot goes up. I think it's going in.
I do think it's going in, but
in the context of, all right, this is the true dagger shot, because he's hit so many dagger shots like that over these last 8 years or so.
I mean, for me, JD, it's, he's played 1,000 regular season games or so, 800. And he plays that game last night and makes some of the shots he makes. And 13 years in, I'm like, you got to be kidding me with these shots. Like, these shots are crazy that he's making. They're from so far out.
No doubt.
Like, they shot 54% or 51% from three last night. Three guys made more threes in a game than any three guys have ever made in a game before. Klay had 10. Curry had, what?
Curry had 7, I believe.
7, and Wiggins had 6 for 23. Three guys combined for 23 three-pointers.
Yeah.
That's the most ever that three guys have combined for.
And it was 23 of 38.
I mean, just absolutely, positively incredible. Incredible. And Klay was at the heart of it. Now the question is, and see, but this is kind of what I mean. My question, okay, can they keep it going? Well,
60% from three
incredible.
For those three.
And it still was a little closer than you'd like, JD.
Yeah, I don't see for last night.
But okay,
I don't
fair
care
enough.
about that.
Fair enough.
You know
They got
why?
their first win
because they hadn't won that game at any
true.
point. So it doesn't matter. Like, they
It's
were
true.
0 for, whether it was Orlando or Miami or Detroit or Sacramento, wherever they were playing when they were in a game like that where they had a chance to win it. Charlotte,
Yep.
They didn't win it. So to me, you can't. The first time you get one like that, when you hadn't won any game like that before, it has to be counted as a net positive.
You're right. You're right.
Like, we can't be rating wins right now when you're 8-9.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm worried about this stretch coming up. If I were a Warrior fan, they're at New Orleans, then they come home Wednesday against the Clippers,
They're beatable.
then the Jazz,
They're beatable.
then they go on the road, play Minnesota and Dallas. I mean, that's one, JD, where can they win 3 out of 5 of those? To me, that would be pretty darn good with 3 of those being road games.
You're counting tonight as
Yeah.
part of that.
Unfortunately, I am.
So you're counting. So what you're saying is, can they go 3-1
yeah,
in the 4?
essentially.
Kinda now, because I mean, and we'll see. You never know. I mean, I do think, and we don't know if Wiggins and Looney are going to play or not. They're questionable. Steph, Klay, Draymond are out. That's been announced within the last hour. Wiggins and Looney are questionable. If Wiggins and Looney play, and the Pelicans overlook them a little bit, the young guys play well. I mean, I think Pelicans overlooked them a little bit in that game a couple of weeks ago, and the Warriors hung around.
Right.
So, I mean, it's probably a Pelicans win tonight, but I'm never going to be one to completely rule a game like that, especially in today's NBA, where teams on a nightly basis play down to the level of the competition.
Right.